The desert wind carried sand that stung like tiny needles against exposed skin. Staff Sergeant Maya Rodriguez adjusted her position behind the rocky outcrop, her sniper rifle steady despite the harsh conditions. Through her scope, she could see the compound where 3 American journalists had been held captive for 18 days. The SEAL team had been planning this rescue mission for 72 hours. Commander Jake Morrison, a decorated veteran with 15 years of special operations experience, had made his decision clear during the final briefing. The shot was too risky. The angle was wrong. The distance was at the very edge of what anyone could reasonably attempt. One missed shot would alert every terrorist in that compound and likely get the hostages killed. Maya had served as a sniper for 8 years. She had made impossible shots before, but this one pushed every boundary she knew. The target stood on a balcony 750 meters away. The wind was gusting unpredictably. The man she needed to eliminate was the compound's leader, Hassan al-Rashid, and intelligence suggested he was planning to execute one of the hostages at dawn as a message to the American government. "Rodriguez, confirm your position," came Morrison's voice through her earpiece. "In position, Commander. Clear line of sight to target. Negative on the shot. I repeat, negative. The risk is too high." Maya watched through her scope as al-Rashid moved around the balcony. He was talking on a satellite phone, gesturing wildly. In the room behind him, she could make out shadows that intelligence indicated were the 3 journalists. Sarah Chun, a war correspondent for CNN. Marcus Webb, a photographer for National Geographic. Dr. Elena Vasquez, a freelance journalist documenting refugee conditions. The SEAL team was positioned around the compound's perimeter. Their plan involved a coordinated assault through the main entrance and 2 side positions. It was solid, professional, and by the book. It was also going to take 12 minutes to execute from Morrison's signal, and Maya's reconnaissance suggested they might not have 12 minutes. She had been watching the compound since before dawn. Al-Rashid's men were nervous, checking their weapons more frequently than usual. Radio chatter that their communications specialist had intercepted suggested something was happening soon. The terrorist leader kept looking at his watch and making urgent phone calls. "Commander, I'm observing increased activity. Target appears to be accelerating his timeline. Acknowledged. Maintain position and wait for my signal." Maya's finger rested alongside the trigger guard, not on the trigger itself. Professional discipline. But, through her scope, she watched al-Rashid disappear into the room where the hostages were being held. When he emerged 2 minutes later, he was dragging someone. It was Sarah Chun. Even at this distance, Maya could see the journalist's hands were bound behind her back. Al-Rashid positioned her at the balcony's edge, facing outward. He was setting up an execution. "Commander, target has moved one of the hostages to the balcony. Situation is escalating. Hold position, Rodriguez. We're moving to implement the assault plan now." But Maya could see what Morrison couldn't from his position. Al-Rashid had a pistol in his hand. He was talking into his satellite phone again, and, based on his body language, this looked like a live broadcast. The terrorist was about to execute Sarah Chun on camera. The wind had momentarily calmed. Maya's breathing was controlled, her heartbeat steady. She had made shots at this distance before, though never under these exact conditions. The physics were challenging, but not impossible. The consequences of missing were catastrophic, but the consequences of not taking the shot were equally devastating. Through her scope, she watched al-Rashid raise his pistol toward the back of Sarah Chun's head. Maya's training kicked in automatically. Breathing pattern controlled. Wind conditions calculated. Distance and bullet drop computed. Her crosshairs settled on al-Rashid's center mass. The shot was there, but Commander Morrison had explicitly ordered her not to take it. "Target is about to execute the hostage," she whispered into her radio. "Negative on the shot, Rodriguez. That is a direct order." Al-Rashid's finger moved toward his trigger. Sarah Chun was looking directly at the camera, her face showing the resigned courage of a professional journalist facing death. Maya had perhaps 3 seconds before the terrorist pulled his trigger. Every aspect of her training said to follow orders. SEAL teams operated on absolute discipline and trust. When a commander made a tactical decision, every team member followed it without question. That discipline had saved countless lives and completed missions that seemed impossible. But Maya was also trained to recognize when a situation had evolved beyond the original parameters. The mission brief had not anticipated a live execution. The assault plan assumed they would have time to coordinate their approach. Al-Rashid was about to murder an American citizen on live television while his team was still 4 minutes away from being in position. She made her choice. Maya's breathing stopped at the natural respiratory pause. Her trigger finger moved slowly, steadily, applying backward pressure until the rifle fired. The sound echoed across the desert landscape. Through her scope, she watched Hassan al-Rashid crumple to the balcony floor. Sarah Chun dropped to her knees, alive, but shaken. The other terrorists in the compound began shouting and running in different directions, confused by the sudden death of their leader and unable to locate where the shot had come from. Shot fired, Maya reported calmly. Target eliminated. Hostage is secure on the balcony. The radio crackled with Morrison's voice, and Maya could hear the mixture of disbelief and fury. Rodriguez, did you just disobey a direct order? Yes, sir. The chaos in the compound worked to the SEAL team's advantage. Without al-Rashid's leadership and caught off guard by the sniper attack, the terrorists' resistance crumbled quickly. Morrison's assault team moved in and secured all 3 hostages within 6 minutes. No American casualties. No civilian casualties. But Maya knew that her career was probably over. Disobeying orders in combat, regardless of the outcome, was one of the most serious offenses in military justice. Even if the shot had saved lives, even if the mission was successful, she had violated the fundamental principle of military command structure. As the team regrouped at their extraction point, Maya packed her rifle systematically. Her hands were steady, her mind clear. She had made the right choice, but she understood there would be consequences. Commander Morrison approached her position. His face was unreadable behind his tactical gear. Rodriguez. Yes, sir. That was a hell of a shot. Thank you, sir. It was also a clear violation of orders. Yes, sir. Morrison was quiet for a long moment, watching the helicopter that would extract them approaching in the distance. We'll discuss this properly when we get back to base. Maya nodded. She had no regrets about pulling the trigger. Sarah Chun was alive because of that decision. But she also knew that her military career was about to face its biggest challenge yet. The helicopter touched down in a cloud of desert sand. As they loaded the rescued hostages aboard, Sarah Chun caught Maya's eye and mouthed thank you. The journalist didn't know the details of what had happened, but she understood that someone had taken extraordinary risks to save her life. Maya settled into the helicopter for the flight back to base, her rifle secured beside her. Through the window, she could see the compound growing smaller in the distance. One shot had changed everything, for better and for worse. The real test was just beginning.